Hello, I'm Dr. Riyaz. I'm a practicing psychiatrist and an empowerment coach, and I also love to raise awareness for our emotional and mental well-being through my videos, blogs, and podcasts. Today, we're going to talk about unhealthy, or what we also call as a toxic workplace. Even though I personally do not like to use this word, toxic, but since I've seen many people struggle enormously with their emotional well-being due to unhealthy work environments, so for the purpose of awareness and urgency of sharing with you that how an unhealthy workplace looks like, and also I've recently noticed that besides having to deal with the stress of the pandemic, working in an unhealthy workplace puts a huge burden on our emotional and personal well-being. So that's why today you'll hear me use this word a lot. As a psychiatrist, my suggestion to anyone who's working in an unhealthy or what we often call a toxic workplace is to leave this kind of job and look for a new one. If you are finding yourself dreading the workday, feeling an ongoing anxiety, unable to sleep, constantly being judged, and underappreciated at work, then guess what? It's time that you put out some resumes and start finding a job that best suits your personality, your qualifications, a place where you will thrive, where you'll focus on your growth, your progress, your creativity, rather than having to worry about surviving every single day at your current workplace. Not everyone is lucky to be able to leave such a work environment due to several reasons. Maybe they're single parents trying to pay their bills, raising kids. Maybe the job market is poor. Or maybe they're in school and cannot commit to something new at this time. Or they have tried and have not had much luck finding a new job. So whatever the reason, just like it's not easy to leave an unhealthy relationship, it's not that easy to leave an unhealthy or a toxic workplace. But firstly, we need to be aware of what a toxic workplace is. An unhealthy workplace is not the one where you have to give your best, and that sometimes can cause a little bit of stress. It's not where you have to meet some deadlines, and that can be a little bit stressful, or you have to spend an extra hour finishing an important task. Neither is it one where you find you do not get along with one or two people. If you're monitored on your progress or asked to do better or show improved productivity, that's also not a toxic workplace. Where there are rules, regulations, expectations, and consequences, as well as good boundaries, your workplace may not be ideal, but a toxic workplace or an unhealthy workplace is something which affects your mental and emotional well-being to a point that you start second-guessing yourself, questioning your competence and your capability due to the feedback that you get from your superiors. A toxic workplace is one where your input is neither heard nor paid any attention to. Rather, you're not even asked to give an input. It's a place where you're made feel less than, inferior, and below others. You are constantly worried that what if I made a mistake and if I'll get into trouble? It's a place where gossip and backbiting is normal culture, and you often catch yourself engaging in such unhealthy actions just to make yourselves feel better, to feel that, hey, I'm not alone, but others are going through the same struggles as well. You cannot wait for that lunch break so that you could get a chance to talk about how today your supervisor called you in the office and made you feel miserable by yelling at you, manipulating you, or asking that you're not doing enough, that so-and-so is doing a better job than you. You should be lucky that you have a job in this day and age, so on and so forth. A toxic workplace is a place where there is no accountability, no transparency. You have to inquire from whoever you can find just to know what is going on, what's the progress of this workplace, what changes are being imposed. And when will you be relieved of demands to constantly fill in for the co-workers who you notice are suddenly leaving? And you are finding yourself wearing two hats and feeling stressed and uncertain as to which hat to wear at what time. You're feeling confused, frustrated, anxious, irritated, annoyed, but you're still hanging in there, waiting for the things to change, waiting for the right supervisor to replace the current one, and hoping that the new one maybe will be better than this one. So here I'll share with you some tips that you can follow which might help you not just survive, but thrive in such a workplace up until, and yes, I mean up until you find that right job or somehow miraculously things actually change at your current workplace for good, which I'm not sure I would recommend, especially if you have already waited for a long time. First and foremost, find an effective support system. By a support system, I do not mean folks around you who engage in gossip and thrive on the negativity of a workplace. I don't mean people who you can vent out to without expecting a change. Then you become a part of that toxic work environment. By support system, I mean someone outside this workplace who you can freely express your emotions to without being judged. A loving family member, a caring friend, or there may be a colleague who is going through the same emotions as you are and like you is bothered by this environment and is ready to make a change as well. Then that will be your team. Both of you can take effective steps to set up some healthy goals for yourself, maybe look out for better jobs outside or a switch to a different department if possible, or whatever else needs to be done to help you come out of that work environment. Can't find such a person? Talk to an empathic counselor to get that added support that will help you thrive during such times and also give you skills to prepare for the future challenges. Report what you see as unhealthy interactions or abusive behaviors. There's a possibility that the department or the section you're working in is run by an individual who is either using control tactics, manipulation, splitting, or other unhealthy behaviors to manage that section. And it may be that he or she could be bringing in that toxicity and that the organization you're working for may be completely unaware of that. Because there are some folks out there who truly suffer from some or the other form of an unhealthy mindset or even a personality disorder in extreme cases, and they're very good at putting up a false face in front of higher leadership, showing that they care about their subordinates, that they're making progress, they're innovative, they're forming a great impression to the leadership. But when it comes to their subordinates, they are completely different. They're demeaning, condescending, critical, and rude, or even discriminative. In such circumstances, you may have to be not just your own advocate, but even advocate for your other colleagues who are going through similar struggles. It then becomes sort of a duty to notify the higher-ups. Most of the organizations have workplace harassment and discrimination hotlines. They will hide your identity. If you're not comfortable in disclosing it, you can choose to be anonymous by either sending a typed letter or make a phone call and ask that you want to stay anonymous and freely report what you're observing. Now remember, change does not happen if the problem is not identified. Many organizations will do an internal audit and find the truth. Chances are that in such cases, you may not even need to leave. Thirdly, not comfortable reporting yet? At least speak up. Use emails. Emails have a lot of power than verbal talk. Sometimes you may feel that, you did talk to your supervisor about the concerns, but as if it just went over her or his head. In that case, sit down and draft an email. Choose your words carefully, as this can become a document of proof that you identified and expressed the issue, thus giving you a lot of credibility. Once you draft an email, do not send it there and then. Wait for your emotions to settle down and then read it again the next day when you're more calmer, more relaxed, and you're able to see a better and a bigger picture. When you feel confident that you made your point in a clear and respectable manner, then send it to your supervisor. Ensure that you describe the problem and the impact it has on your and others' emotional well-being, rather than using words reflective of blaming or finger-pointing. Avoid making personal accusations, but just focus on the problem. Fourthly, sit with yourself and analyze your job. What does it bring to you that is good, and what are the prices that you are paying? Then compare the two and see if it's really worth the time and effort to put in this job. If it clearly is affecting your self-esteem, your confidence, and your interpersonal relationships, then remember, your health is the most important thing and that it's time to seek that new job. Number 5, set some short-term goals for yourself and some long-term goals. Say you decide that, okay, this week I'll do some job search. And in week number 2, I'll work on my resume or edit my current one. Week number 3, I'll apply to maybe 2 new places in the area. And on week 4, I will expect to interview maybe at least 1. So by week 5, 6, 7, 8, and maybe even more, you may have found yourselves a new job. Set up healthy boundaries against those at the workplace who bring you down or make you feel more anxious. Make your heart as your guiding compass. Learn to say no to things or requests which are outside your job duties and expertise. I know we sometimes get afraid of, getting fired but if we're clear in what we have signed up for, it's a pretty common practice that sometimes, we may be asked to fill in for a colleague who's out sick or on some medical emergency. In fact, I encourage you to volunteer to help run your workplace smoothly if you can. But if you are getting constantly pulled into doing other people's work and work that you don't have experience on and is bringing you unnecessary stress, then that's the time to use your assertive skills. If you're not naturally good at them, then take an assertive skill training class or talk to an empathic counselor who can help you build such skills. Trust me, they'll be very handy, not only at your workplace, but even in your personal lives. Number 7, just like, when it comes to relationships, how we sometimes repeat the pattern of going from one unhealthy to another unhealthy relationship. Be aware of what mistakes you may have made in picking your current job and try to be cognizant of that. When going for a new job interview, we often try to, sell ourselves and want to make every effort to look good so that we can get a job. But I encourage you that this time, besides of course doing that, see what this job has to offer you. Ask them that you have some good and not so good experiences in your previous jobs, and you were wondering if you could speak to some people who are working there. Ask them questions, and remember, it's okay to share up front with whoever is interviewing you that, what your priorities are, that, you're a flexible person, that there may be certain times due to your personal obligations that you may not be able to commit to. Like share what you have, that, you have children and that what times will work best for you due to caring for your family, and how there may be times that you may not be able to stay overtime, and so on and so forth. And yes, it may delay the time of finding a new job, but if you do your part of sharing your strengths as well as your limitations up front, doing your research to find the culture of the company or the organization, and then see if this is the right job for your needs, chances are that you'll be more happy, more productive, and will also grow professionally in this new place. And also, you will come across as confident, authentic, and someone who has their priorities clear. Now, who would not want to hire a person with such qualities? So it will be worth the wait. Don't forget to take good care of yourself by eating on time, staying hydrated, taking breaks, grabbing a snack. Set up some time to get some exercise to help your body relax after you're back from surviving one more hard day in such a workplace. Number 9, most of us will try to engage in unhealthy behaviors like drinking or using recreational substances to decrease our work stress. In this case, we're just putting ourselves at an unnecessary added risk for addiction, self-harm, besides, of course, the usual work stress that we have. Treat yourselves well. Practice self-love and self-compassion. Don't be hard on yourself. Forgive yourselves for small mistakes. And please don't forget to applaud yourself, even when your superiors are not, for doing a good job every single day, for doing your best, and for becoming more resilient. Hopefully, these simple yet effective strategies will keep you afloat up until you find that job where your presence will be cherished, your expertise will be appreciated, where you will thrive both professionally and emotionally. Please don't forget to subscribe to this video to receive more videos in the future. Take care.